2 weeks ago you had a power back and Derrick Henry. Now, how would you describe the way Baltimore runs the ball?
Yeah, they're real diverse. I mean, they got that option going. Lamar is, I mean, obviously we all know he's an elite quarterback, but I mean he's an elite runner, and we got to treat him obviously like a running back. And this week is all about assignment football. You know what I mean? The guy's got to be in the right fits at the right time. You got to read your keys, and main thing, we got to trust one another.
How do some of those like tight, heavy packages that they run, like out of the pistol, how do they challenge the defensive front?
Yeah, like I said, it's all about assignments. So it's mainly with the DNs, you know, when they leave them unblocked, knowing when you got the dive, knowing when you got the quarterback, and playing fast, so that the linebackers can come over the top and get in their fits fast as well. So it's really gonna be off the DNs this week and knowing their keys and knowing when they got quarterback, knowing they got dive.
DeForest, of all the quarterbacks you've faced, is this maybe the most unique because of the way they built almost a running game around him?
Yeah, definitely. They built the entire running game around him. Whether he keeps it or gives it off or whatever it is, majority of the runs are pretty much an option, and so that makes a lot of defenses be a little hesitant, and in their run fits and little things like that, and you never know when he's going to pull it. So if you got the quarterback, get the quarterback. If you got the dive, get the dive.
So then you trust that the other guy's going to do what he's supposed to do.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Have you gone back and looked at the last year's game where the first half you guys had all the answers?
Yeah.
Second half, you didn't have a lot of answers.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, it was that same thing with last year and even this year, where we played well and then all of a sudden, we couldn't finish. I mean, it's the same thing, that's been going on, and we just need to figure out a way to play all 4 quarters, just like last week. I mean, we played a solid 3 quarters. In the 4th quarter, we had a couple, mishaps in the defense, and, they were able to score twice in the 4th. So we just got to do a better job with finishing.
When's the first time you guys started to prep for this game? Frank said it was back in camp.
Yeah, I was back in camp going through, some option rules and little things like that with the DNs and the linebackers. Yeah, so we did a little prep in camp through training camp.
Every week is 1-0, and I get that, but
Yeah.
It's Monday Night Football. Everyone gets up for that a little bit more. You're playing one of the best teams in the conference, one of the best players in football. Does it feel like there's a little bit more at stake this week for you guys who are really looking for a statement win, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always, adrenaline's always going a little bit more, especially on a primetime game against a big opponent, like you said, a big opponent in the AFC. And this will definitely be, a big-time win for us, as a team, especially, like you said, against one of the better teams in the AFC. So I know a lot of guys, they're locked in this week and ready to go.
How have you been able to tell the guys are locked in already?
Just a sense of urgency, you know what I mean? Being, the communication, even in the walkthroughs today so far, and we just gotta, bring all the, all of the details and the communication and all that, and has to go from walkthrough to practice today, and we're gonna see how that goes today.
You and Grover kind of the veteran guys in the line, but you have a lot of young pass rushers. Some of them, 3rd and 4th year, and then you got rookies too.
Yeah.
What is the most difficult thing about the development, particularly edge rushers? What's the most difficult thing about that development? You're seeing all these moves from offensive linemen they don't see in college and that kind of thing. How is that development different for edge rushers, do you think, than most players?
I think, you have that anomaly of some of those guys like the Nick Bosa's or whatever that come right into the league and ready to go. And then there's also some of those guys that take a couple years. Usually, I feel like for D linemen, it's usually about 3 years, and then they kind of find themselves and they get things rolling. For me, it kind of took. Just looking at myself, I'm not an edge rusher, but like just as a pass rusher in general, I say about my 3rd year, I kind of put everything together. And, it takes some time as a D lineman, and sometimes that's why coaches, they have patience. That's why a lot of these guys that get drafted high or whatever it is, if you're a pass rusher, off of potential. You know what I mean? Majority of the league guys get drafted off of potential and what coaches see and, your abilities and things like that. And, some guys, they just take a little longer. But once they get it, they get it. And as a unit, I feel like we took steps in the right direction, last week. rushing as a unit and everything like that. Obviously, we still got things to clean up. And with this week with Lamar, as a unit, we got to just keep him in the well. That's what we've been struggling with guys, being able to extend plays and little things like that. So we got to rush his 4.
What do you think? In your case, I know again you're not edge rusher, but what you said your third year. What clicked for you in your third year? Do you think, like specifically?
One was time on the grass. You know what I mean? I had a lot of reps as a young player coming in, and so being able to really get those reps, in practice and games. I was able to, really focus on my craft and, continue to get better and work on it. And that was one of the main things for me was, just having that time, being able to actually go out there, full speed and actually, go through my craft.
When you guys started preparing for Baltimore during training camp, in all your years, had you ever started preparing for a team that early, considering you still have, training camp to get through and four regular season games before that?
Yeah, sometimes, camp, you got all that time, you know what I mean? And so you look at, different opponents that you have down the road, which could be, could be, some problems or little things that you look at that could be challenging. And so, just to get that in guys, in the back of their heads a little bit early on in the season, yeah, I've definitely had times where we, said, okay, today we're going to look at, this team or whatever and what they do and kind of go through those mechanics and little things like that that early on in the season for sure.
Players only meeting last week that you led. What was your hope long term that would come out of that?
The players only meeting that we had last week, it was really, it was obviously just for the guys to really say their piece and, to really hold each other accountable. That was my main message when I spoke in it. Just being able to hold each other accountable and, just letting them know, we have with the rough start that we had. I've been a part of, a bunch of teams. This being my 6th year, and I've been a couple teams where we started off 0-3, and I was like, oh, it's going to be a long season. But starting off 0-3 with this squad, I didn't feel that way. You know what I mean? We were in it, especially the LA game and the Titans game, with both times we had leads and we beat ourselves. Watching the film, all around in 3 phases, we beat ourselves. And I know that we have a great squad, and I want to let the guys know that. I want to let them know that, I believe in us, and we all should. And, I think there's a couple guys had some great things to say, and, I think it was beneficial for us for sure. I thank Frank for putting that together.
Going back to Steven's question, Kamoko Turi and his performance on Sunday, if you can bottle that up and you can get that consistently, what can that mean to your defense as a whole?
It can mean a lot, especially having that presence off the edge with a guy like Kamoko. He's got all the potential to be a great rusher in this league, and he just has to continue to build off of that, and it'll open things up for a bunch of guys, amongst the line, and even having a constant pressure off the edge, have guys step up in the middle will help me out a little bit too, and also in the back end, coverage. We don't have those guys covering too long, and the guys on the back end, they can only cover for so long, you know what I mean? And giving us that extra tick means a lot. And, when we got to get home, we got to get home. And for Turi to get 2 sacks last week, it's something to build off of.
With Baltimore, whatever you prepared for in the preseason, were they the only team that you guys gave a little special attention to?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just because they got all those options and all that kind of stuff. So.